Holy James Gunn fever dream, Batman! Tiki here, and I am walking through each and every episode of Batman Beyond for the first time. Dragon, tell them why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way. But that was the past, and we must now enter the Batman's future.
That's right, and tonight we are winding down our two-parter, the first two-parter of Season 3. It's Season 3, Episode 8, The Call, Part 2. All right, so yeah, Dragon, this was definitely a solid episode, very action-heavy, but, appropriately, and the action was staged very well. I think for me, the big standout, spoiler alert for anyone, is all the Staryu stuff. I think
Starro.
I'm sorry.
He's not a Pokemon.
God, that's exactly what I'm thinking of, Dragon. You're right. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Staryu and Starmie. Dragon, do you remember what Staryu's Pokemon vocal is in the anime? Do you remember what he says?
I don't remember what he says. I mean, it was like some derivation of his name. Was it?
No, you would think it was, but it's really funny. He literally just says "Hiya."
Oh, it's dumb.
It is dumb. I vividly remember it though. It was one of the few Pokemon where it was like instead of saying its name, it was just a sound effect, like "Hiya." Anyways, so yes, Starro, Dragon. I'm terribly sorry. The Starro stuff is definitely the highlight. As I said, in the holy James Gunn fever dream, if there ever was one. Dragon, I have, in addition to some of my other crippling fears, like man-eating carnivorous plants and stuff like that, Dragon, I do not like large quantities of small creatures in a confined setting. That is something that always gives me the heebie-jeebies, and this episode is full of it. Some good interaction from the Justice League. I wouldn't say this is a top tier episode of Batman Beyond, but I would say it's definitely a solid B plus on the ranking scale. Certainly a better Silver Age episode than the last episode that we covered that really leaned into the Silver Age stuff. As you know, I wasn't a fan of that one. All right, so we have Kogias in the comments. And Dragon, I agree. I think this freeze frame is very amusing as far as just like everyone just looking horrified at Superman, saying Justice League looks pretty horrified by Superman's new look.
So is the rest of the internet, I'm afraid.
Yeah. They're really reacting to the CGI lack of mustache, Dragon. That's what they're reacting to.
Oh, of course. That's why his face is turned away.
The little CGI on the upper lip.
Cal, you got a little something on your lip. Wait, did I get it? No, your fingers are disappearing.
Oh, God. All right. Kogias asks, was Aquaman ever technically a member of the Justice League in the DCAU? You would know better than I would.
Yes. So they met. Okay, so Aquaman was introduced in Superman the Animated Series, and then he got a revamp. Same character, presumably the same character, but he was made a lot more definitive in Justice League, and then he was a member of the JLU later on. So technically he's a member of the Justice League, but not a core member.
Got it. All right, so go ahead, Dragon. Give us some background here.
Yes. So, this episode, it's not always a guarantee, but, it's kind of nice when they have some consistency here. Episode's directed by Butch Lukic again. Of course, Butch Lukic worked on the April Moon episode. We like that. And he also, he ran point on, the Tomorrowverse.
Mm-hmm.
The writer on this, the guys that came up with the core story that we're working with here was the great and powerful Paul Dini.
Of course, feels like a Dini story for sure.
Yep, Dini, of course, who brought us Out of the Past this season. Another biggie, along with the great, the incomparable Alan Burnett. AB baby,
Ernie.
What?
Right.
Yes, Bernie.
Anyways.
Don't Bernie me.
Oh God.
Yeah, so Alan Burnett worked on episodes like Rebirth along with Dini and Meltdown. So Alan Burnett he's the secret weapon of the Batman Beyond writers room. They only bring in Alan Burnett when it's a big one. So again, the guy who did the teleplay on this, the guy basically kind of ran with the idea that was kind of plotted by Dini and Burnett was Stan Berkowitz, the
Burke.
Burke writers from Burke.
Damn right.
Those wrote episodes like April Moon and Sneak Peek.
Dragon in Epic Universe where they have the How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berkland. I want there to be a statue of Berkowitz. It'll never happen, but wouldn't it be cool if somehow it did?
Of course, it'd be great.
It'll never happen though, but it'd be awesome.
Anyway, so Tiki, shocker, I know, as if it's been like on our chest for seasons, but I still feel the need to tell you. So brace yourself as I get this off my chest. This episode was animated by Coco.
Oh my God.
But Tiki, that's not everything. It wasn't just Coco. It was Coco with little marshmallowy bits of animation goodness provided by none other than Dong Yang.
Starfish-shaped marshmallows, I hope.
You're darn right. You're Dong Yang right, my friend. Okay, so I'm going to save a lot of the background for when we've already kind of talked. I don't know. We talked about Starro. I figure I kind of wait a little bit to get the story. What do you think?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Okay, well, let me mention this. So Bruce Timm, very notoriously, he hates evil Superman. He hates doing evil Superman. And when kind of running point on the Dark Knight Returns animated movie, he's always been iffy, even going back to that story of how Superman is portrayed in that story. So he's very protective of Superman. And in the DCAU, oddly enough, Bruce Timm, because of that protective nature, it seems like when they did Dark Superman, they made it count, and that's why it's like the one good time. It's like the one good example of all the times we've done Evil Superman where it actually, didn't get old fast and actually still holds up when you go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically when Bruce Timm did, kind of the evil / kind of like the darker, morally ambiguous Superman, there was a ripple effect in the world building of the DCAU. It wasn't just like look at him be all dark. How much heat vision memorabilia
He's
can
a
we
very
sell?
bad boy.
Yeah. I tell you, T, it still sickens me. I would love to buy more Superman merchandise. The problem is, every time I want to buy a Superman shirt, it's always like, oh, it looks so mean with the heat vision going on. That's not Superman.
I blame Zack Snyder on that.
But that was going on even before Snyder, though.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like Zack Snyder really popularized the mopey emo Superman.
It's always like, no, Superman, he's got to be strong, and he's got to be in fighting mode all the time. Or no, I want a Superman that saves people. I want my adventures with Superman. I don't want just like Superman looking all menacing.
Totally.
Anyway, so yeah, I'll talk about the Starro stuff up front here. So Starro, you're probably wondering why is Starro in this episode? Well, that's because Starro was mainly used because he was built in the Superman the Animated Series in the episode we flash back to. He was kind of there, so he was introduced, and I think it seems like it was a happy accident where Dini was reaching back in the Superman the Animated Series as like a story solution to, okay, how can we walk Superman back from trying to kill members of the GLU? Well, obviously, we don't want him to actually be evil, so it's like, well, if it's going to be a mind control thing, we can't use Apocalypse. It would be, I guess, Star would be a way to do that. And coincidentally, it was like kind of a could have had a V8 moment of like, well, yeah, the Justice League's first foe, very iconically, is Starro. So in a meta way, our first taste of the Justice League in the DCAU predicated with Starro. All makes sense. All connects very nicely. 5 little points of interconnection there.
And you said that that this actually does relate to an episode of Superman the Animated Series as well, because I didn't know that.
Yeah, we'll get to it when we flash back to it later in the episode, but absolutely, yeah, this is like not coming out of left field.
So that's very serendipitous. Just the combined fact of like Superman has interacted with Starro before, and then also, of course, like you said, where Starro was kind of like iconically one of the Justice League's first major foes.
Think cereal to you, Starro.
Star. Oh my god.
There you go.
Do I keep saying Star U? I'm
Well,
so
you keep. I can sense you trying not to say star you, and you're saying like staru or
Star
staru star.
U.
You keep.
All right.
You get star o.
Star O. All right. I'll think of Star
Just
O's.
think.
All
There you go. Think of cereal. Okay.
right.
All right. Let's do it.
Okie dokie. All right. So the episode starts with Terry, Batman, trying to show the Justice League footage of Superman in evil mode. Ooh, he's such a bad boy.
This is a nice natural recap. Like, well, he's showing him the footage, which is what he
Uh-huh.
said he was going to do. Barda, she doesn't trust the Batmobile or Batman. She's pointing out, like, he's like, I know less about your vehicle than I do about you. Why would I trust this? So, very, very, very much denying what's in front of her face here. And Batman's had it. Barda's had it out from since it's the first part, and he's just kind of sick of it, and just saying, look, this is really serious right now, and you gotta stop being so pig-headed. And she doesn't like that at all.
Pig-headed.
Yep. So basically, it's as if you said that to Miss Piggy, and she goes she goes aggro on him. She hits him across the room. And she's about to kill Batman. Thank goodness, Green Lantern steps in and bubbles her until she calms down. A little like that bit from Mulan. Like she's grabbing the short angry guy, and he's like, "Okay, like center yourself, calm it down." All right.
So then Warhawk reveals himself.
So how did you feel about this, Tiki?
I mean, I knew he wasn't dead just because logically I wouldn't think that they would kill off a hero, and also, of course, I wouldn't think that they'd commit fully to Superman being the one to do it, right? So I don't know. It's a little bit cheap of like, oh, yeah, I was remote controlling my suit. But I don't know. It's a little bit of a gimme, Dragon. It's a little bit of an I don't care. Not an enthusiastic I don't care, but more of a, all right, let's just get along with the plot kind of I don't care. You know what I mean?
And look, the writers fully admit it's a very BS kind of moment. They know it's a cheat, but they couldn't have Superman kill him. That was the addendum. It's like, okay, look. We can't have technically Warhawk is on the chopping block because he was an original character for the show. There is no Warhawk, so if they wanted to, they could, but they couldn't have Superman.
So that's the thing. They couldn't. Let's just be honest with ourselves here.
Yeah. So anyway, Warhawk walks in, huge cheat to how he survived, and the main reason is because we saw how that armor worked, and he was very much in that armor.
Right.
I think
I do like Warhawk's kind of turnaround on Terry though. Like, I told the kid not to follow me, and he did. I like that.
He disobeyed me. I like that.
A little fight in you. I like that.
It's a good line. By the way, Will Friedle loves that line from the episode too. Yep. But yeah. So honestly, I think the problem is Berkowitz, if he just changed the line a little bit, because the Batman Beyond, Terry kind of frames it a little bit like, okay, so he got out at the last second off screen, like admits when he went off to deal with the explosion, like somewhere between the Batmobile watching him.
I mean, it's about as much bullshit as the whole autopilot thing from The Dark Knight Rises is. So, if you can accept that, I can accept this.
So that's what I'm saying. It's just a matter of, I don't know, the autopilot's at least credible because we're cutting away from stuff ambiguously. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're cutting away from it. I think it hurts that we saw him like really solidified in that armor, then flying off. A very brief cut versus okay, we're not playing with time linearly, that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just wish I injected
the advantage that Nolan has over an animated series is that Nolan usually has over 2 hours to play with his non-linear timelines and whatnot. This has 20 minutes, so it's you're not going to get it across as well as you would with something like that.
Yeah. Okay, but honestly, I think it was the thing where the animation in the end kind of screwed him on that one. Just where it seemed that, man, there's no time between that for us to say he jumped out the last second. Right. That's the problem. We're playing it like he did, but there's no way that.
Like I said, Dragon, it's not an enthusiastic. I don't care, but it's definitely like an all right. You know what? Whatever. Let's just get on with it.
Hey, I'm fine with it. I like Warhawk, so I'm fine with whatever keeps him alive.
Right.
All right. Anyway, so Warhawk justifiably kind of like Buzz being.
I mean, Warhawk, he's got some bloodlust here. He's not playing around.
I mean, Warhawk, much like Buzz Lightyear after being knocked out the window, he's not too happy at Superman.
Right.
So he's he's mad. Barda says he deserves a chance to to explain himself. And he says, "Fine, then I'll rip his arms off." Which, by the way, my headcanon on this, you don't have to read it like this, but it's my headcanon. My headcanon is that Barda, her connection to Superman and why she's very, she seems like, she's really trying to reach him a lot during this episode, calling him Cal and everything, and she's very protective and values his opinion, as we've seen between the two episodes. I like to think the reason for that is she feels guilty for what Apocalypse, or at least sympathy for what Apocalypse did to him at the end of Superman the Animated Series, where essentially he was brainwashed into taking over the planet. And I think, because she too heralds from Apocalypse and she, did a turnaround, became a hero. I think she feels some guilt over that.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I can co-sign that.
All right. So Superman tries shutting off Micron's life support, and they're all calling him out on his lies here, saying, "Hey, adjusting the stasis field, that never needs to be adjusted, man. This is futuristic technology. What are you doing?" So he's really just trying to finish him off like he did Warhawk, which he calls out.
Really quick, I do feel like it's kind of convenient that Micron is just like out of commission in this whole episode, except for a very brief bit.
Well, again, he adjusted the stasis field, though, so it's like we saw what happened in Invincible, Tiki.
Oh, God. No, I'm just saying, like, that power set, it's like that power set probably could have come in handy a little too much in this situation. It probably would have broken the plot.
It's kind of like dumped all the starfish.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Again,
so honestly, that's the plot hole I kind of care a little bit more about, even though it's not even as stupid as the Warhawk one. I just think it actually affects the fabric of the story a little more.
Well, yeah, but we knocked him out though, so he wouldn't be a part of the problem.
No, I get that, but it's I don't know. I just thought it was a little cheap.
Yeah,
the way we did it.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway,
so so there, it's a tense moment. Superman plays it clueless, and he's been he reveals that he's been looking for a traitor, and then Batman points out, well, yeah, that doesn't make you innocent.
Mm-hmm.
So then Superman's turn on everyone, says, so you're all traitors, you all betrayed me, betrayal.
We'll get there.
I was thinking more Superman 4 with that one, but
Oh, got it, right.
You remember Superman 4, like you'll be teaching them to be betrayed.
Yes.
Anyway,
Didn't Family Guy make a joke about that or something?
Maybe, but I'm not sure.
I want to say that because I haven't actually sat down and watched Superman 4, but that still sounds familiar. I want to say I saw a parody of that somewhere down the line.
Yeah, anyways. Superman 4's got a lot of really ridiculous moments in it.
I saw Superman 3 and I was like, nah, I'm done. I'm tapping out.
Yeah, but we'd have so much more respect for you if you watched 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. So Barda, she makes a plea like, we would never betray you, Cal. Just let us help you. And then Aquagirl, when she reaches out, we have an alien moment here, where like a big red eye pops out of the chest of his costume, leading to our thumbnail.
It is a little bit of an alien moment. Yeah, it is kind of a literal chest burster of sorts.
Yep. So they're all, oh my god. Anyway, so this is great. So Superman's heat vision kicks on. He's about to roast them all. Green Lantern deflects the blast the last second. Warhawk attacks. Superman uses Warhawk as a shield when Bart is like blasting the Mega. Good, really well staged action here. Really good close quarters kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and again, this is them before doing Justice League. Where Justice League, they had to worry about this sort of thing all the time, and this is like the first time they're really worried about having multiple heroes versus our one singular hero in an action scene here, and then they're all these heroes are fighting each other. So this is not easy stuff. Which basically until Justice League Season 2 did they really have a really good grasp on how to do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of nice to look back. Anyway, so Batman, in the midst of all the craziness, he pulls out the kryptonite. This is a big plot point at the end of last episode. Terry has kryptonite, and he has some ethical concerns over using it, despite the whole like 1% certainty kind of situation going on here.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the episode doesn't really hype up the will he, won't he of it all enough, given how dramatic that cliffhanger was. The
Yes, but
kryptonite comes out it comes out a couple times, but it doesn't even really feel like there's much tension anytime it comes out. I don't know.
and we did dedicate some focus to it up front here, where he does, talk to Bruce about it and everything. So
Uh-huh.
anyway, so Aqua Girl, she saves him in doing so. Kryptonite falls down the vent. And like the one person I thought I could trust, of course, he said the wrong line because Micron, he bursts out and he grabs Superman. Not too happy there. Superman then again Starro on his chest, like it turns to a pincushion and gets all spiky, and then Superman he gets away, and during all this, Micron's back in stasis because we couldn't afford him.
Essentially, yes.
Says, no, Micron, you're overqualified. Get out of the episode.
Basically.
I didn't even get to wear my costume this episode, Micron. The door's that way. Go. But I'm too tall.
You know what, Dragon? I hate to bring this up, but it is kind of unfortunate that he's the one member of the Justice League that's a person of color.
Well,
and we do this episode.
Well, we do have a Tibetan character, Tiki.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, good point on that. All right, fair enough.
Yep. All right. So, anyway, sorry. Yeah. So, point being, Micron's shown the door. The episode's put back in the stasis chamber. Back. It says, "What is this, Boba Fett? Back to the tank."
Oh God. Boba Fett's and the other one like, don't worry, Micron, it's not so bad.
I'll give you a Kiwi accent.
Oh my God.
Taika Waititi got shot one time. He went in the back to the tank. He came out and he never came out the same again.
Oh
anyway, so let's see. So during all this here, Micron's back in the stasis tank. We heal up Warhawk using some futurist technology. Very handy. And so they're kind of speculating on the thing on his chest controlling him. Aqua would like to examine it further. Anyway, so Batman, he's calling up Bruce Wayne, and he talks about he hesitated using the kryptonite. And Bruce is saying like, why? Why did you hesitate? Because he's the greatest hero ever lived. This great moment. Pause. Well, one of the greatest.
Love that. Conroy doesn't have a lot to do this episode, so I kind of have a couple honorary Great Conroy bits that I'll bring up. I think the most obvious one is the line that Terry says right at the end. I would like to kind of just say up front, I think that should be the honorary Great Conroy moment for the episode.
Well, that's true. I do think his next line's kind of Great Conroy worthy, perhaps.
Well, there is one thing. Let's go through this moment because I actually it's not a line; it's a look that I think is almost Great Conroy-esque in its own right.
Right. Anyway, so again, there's the whole one of the greatest. There had to be another way, and then Bruce comes in saying, "Now you know better."
Yeah, that's solid.
I think it's a really good line because that's also, again, now admittedly, we do kind of lose, I think, the drama of the kryptonite thing after
that's
this.
That's what I'm saying. Still. Yeah, I especially because it was built up as the main cliffhanger of the last episode.
I will argue this. We don't really explicitly draw it out, but I think in terms of what happens in the episode when Terry does go one-on-one with Superman later, he does find another way, like he's talking about in this scene. So it does pay off, and we do take the kryptonite away from him, and I think it's challenging Terry to find a solution that our current Batman would not be able to. So in that respect, I do think we did pay off the kryptonite thing, but maybe not in the most exciting way we could.
Sure.
Because what's happening here is the whole we just see how jaded Bruce Wayne is here. Just the whole now you know better, where it's a thing of Bruce Wayne has done this dance a lot of times, and he's at a point where it's he's again he has Terry's brought back a lot of Bruce's optimism, a lot of the zeal which he did when he was out doing the crusade. But I think a lot of it does boil down to Bruce isn't physically out there, and I think that does impact how he sees things a little bit. He's seeing it from, again, he's kind of almost in the Amanda Waller sense right now, kind of
very much so. Yeah,
you're making the hard calls without being on the front lines like he used to be, and maybe that's altered his perspective a little bit, where you can analytically say that yes, if Superman goes rogue, and again, not technically a human, so there's technically, so there's
a little bit of a loophole there.
there's a bit of a loophole. We get into the stuff that Snyder should have actually
Oh God.
explored. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again, but you see my point. It's just the fact that it's like there is a thing there where again there's a intellectual argument for killing Superman if it comes down to it, if there's no other choice. But again, Terry has like the younger Batman perspective. There has to be another way,
Mhm.
or I can't do this to this guy. Anyway, little mentorship going on there. So Superman, the Superman's most likely gone to the Fortress of Solitude. Problem: the JLU does not know where the Fortress of Solitude is. Well kept secret.
A little bit
Now,
of an issue.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you think Superman didn't tell them where the fortress was out of just like that's something he doesn't like to share with people, Batman being the exception, or is that Starro logic?
I feel like
I
that's almost like a chicken or the egg question,
uh-huh.
honestly.
I think it's Starro logic because I mean he
Yeah,
invited.
I think so too. Yeah, yeah.
Now, looking at the DCAU, now mind you, this when they did this, they had no idea that would go. Again, this is like
Of
way
course,
before
of
we have the
course.
Justice League show. But retroactively, and it still fits, I think. Only Batman and Wonder Woman know where the Fortress of Solitude is.
Mhm.
Specifically, Batman. Wonder Woman, like she was in the bat, she was in the Batwing. I don't know if she knows the directions to get there. She probably can't remember. That's the thing. Like, really, Batman's the only one who knows where the fortress is. So, I mean, I think that shows again it's a whole Trinity thing. Like the big three of DC. Those are the people that Superman trusts.
Sure, sure.
So I mean, it's a little unclear, but I think logically, from a plot standpoint, Starro does. He's been cultivating all the other little Starros for his big takeover plan. So because of that, he has not told the Justice League, where the fortress is. I think that's a calculated move on Starro's part.
Mhm.
Okay, so the point being, gotta go to the Fortress of Solitude. Problem is, we don't know where it is. Terry does. Well, he doesn't know, but he
He
knows
knows a
someone who
guy.
does. He knows a guy.
So I don't know, Dragon. I think this dramatic zoom in on Bruce Wayne without any dialogue, I do think it's a little Great Conroy-esque in its own right.
Yeah, a little bit. No, I'll give you that.
I know it's stretching a little bit. Again, I really think that for the Great Conroy moment, I think we need to throw it to Terry's last line. That would be my vote, but I digress.
All right. So they use the mother box, the boom tube there, because Barda does hail from Apocalypse, so she would have this technology.
Mm.
It's Terry's first boom tube, which is not a fun way to travel. So he's very green with it, where the rest of them are very gun ho about it. Let's see. So they look for Superman. They walk past the enclosure. Basically, now Tiki. So there's an episode of Superman the animated series. It's the Main Man episode. I think it's called the Main Man Part 1, Part 2, and that introduces Lobo, played by Brad Garrett.
Oh, nice! Of course, of course.
Anyway, so the whole premise of the episode, just in 5 seconds here. Lobo tries to take Superman to the Preserver, who has an intergalactic zoo. Basically, it's the old Star Trek premise of like we have a zoo full of the last survivors of species, and
It almost kind of
basically
gives me a vibe of the Tivian collection as well.
exactly that's
Mhm.
exactly it.
Right, right.
So that's the idea. Basically, there was this egg-shaped looking guy called the Preserver, who basically he wanted the last son of Krypton, and Lobo was like the last Zarnian. So you had kind of like a Defiant Ones kind of team up where they had to work together to get out of there. It's a good episode. And anyway, I believe the memory serves. I meant to look back on this, but I didn't. Starro, I'm pretty sure Starro is an Easter egg in that episode. He's one in the enclosures. He's there.
Oh, okay, got
Starro
it.
was there, but didn't really plan on doing anything with him.
That was a really happy accident, though.
Exactly, because that's the thing. So, and then Superman the animated series, and we see it here. Superman, he basically, and you remember the death of Superman Lives and all that, right?
Of course.
And that idea from Superman the animated series was brought into that movie, where the idea that Brainiac had like this menagerie of like the last species of all these
Mhm.
different planets, and then Superman.
Is that where the giant fucking spider was going to come from?
Yes,
Oh my
exactly.
god, that's amazing.
But yeah, so that's the thing. So Brainiac had all these species from all across the worlds that he destroyed, like a kind of a Noah's Ark sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
And again, the idea is Superman would have like taken the menagerie and he would have put him in the Fortress of Solitude, which essentially is what they did in Superman the animated series. He saved all the endangered species from the Preserver's spaceship, and he basically put them in the fortress. So again, there's like good logic here. Like we set this up very well in Superman the animated series. So it's like, well, we never saw Starro, so we saw him in that Easter egg, and he was on that ship. And if he's on that ship, he's probably in the fortress. So it all fell into place.
Right, right. Just to shout out a couple comments from Kogias here, really quick, not to leave him in the dark. He's saying Terry wouldn't be able to stop Clark as easily as Bruce could because Terry's mom isn't named Martha.
Yeah,
unfortunately. Let's see. He says, "I love that Bruce was offended that he wasn't Terry's favorite superhero."
So that was again, we're having these great serious unstoppable moments in season 3 with Terry.
Right. Again, I think that Terry is slowly transforming into Unstoppable throughout this season.
Yep, and his last form will be the Fearless Ferret.
Oh, God. all right.
That means Conroy's going to morph into Adam West.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Kogia says Terry probably wishes that he wasn't already dating someone, seeing that Marina could become a part of his world. Yeah, I do like that there is some good chemistry between him and Marina. We kind of set that up in the first episode.
That's nice. Also a nice little part of your world pun, but yeah.
Terry is he is the ladies' man, as we have established.
Yep. He's a good
Yeah, and I still think Max would have been my ship of choice, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah, they would have fought you tooth and nail in the writer's room on that one.
I don't care, man. I like Max is the one person that Terry could actually let into his world. That means something. Yeah. God damn it.
It's not like he trusted her with it. She found out.
No, I know. Anyways.
Okay, anyway. So again, we're in the fortress, and then we are attacked by Superman's robot. So this is another thing that's kind of in that that's kind of in the Death of Superman Lives thing.
Right.
So Superman Lives. Basically, Kevin Smith, he fought the robots idea. If memory serves, the robots were a Silver Age idea that they did find a way to put into the DCAU.
It's incredibly Silver Age. I think it works for this episode, though.
Now, I want to say, now again, I never saw it myself in the comics, but in Superman the Animated Series, they had the robots that did look like doppelgangers of Superman. The whole point was Superman used these for appearances. Like, if Clark Kent needed to be somewhere, and then you'd have the robot, so that's how Superman would keep up appearances or make it look like if Superman was off-world, Superman would still be around Metropolis. That was the whole point of the robot.
Uh-huh.
And I want to say in the Silver Age, it probably would have been thinking like, man, we literally have a robot that looks exactly like Superman versus like just the kind of a robot.
Got it.
So that's why I think they look exactly like Superman for the decoy purposes. Anyway, so we kind of brought back that idea. So we have like the Superman robots, and they're getting their heads knocked off and everything. And it's a diversionary tactic in this case. Superman set a little trap, and he attacks. And then we have again Terry. Terry is prepared there. The whole thing of like, oh man, you are green. Join the club. Be pulled up. Kryptonite. That's a good line.
That's the most dramatic the Kryptonite plot gets, honestly.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Like, we have up to this point, we have the Kryptonite being used in a way of like you said, Terry's using the Kryptonite. It's a very serious thing he's kind of doing here.
Uh-huh.
And Warhawk's like saying, "Finish him off!" Like Warhawk's
finish him.
Yeah. So that's
fatality.
Warhawk approves of this move. So finish him off and Aquagirl's like, no, this is our chance. Let me examine the thing on his chest, see if we can save him. And of course, Terry definitely wants to find a way not to kill Superman.
Right.
So this is where we reveal the whole Starro thing. We get a little flashback here.
Yeah, and one of the things I always really appreciate about Starro is the fact that on some level, he's always a little bit sympathetic. Like, I feel like James Gunn's Suicide Squad really played into that, and I feel like this plays into that as well.
Exactly, yeah. Very, very similar in a sense. But Starro was, he was kind of absconded with. He was taken. In James Gunn's version by Man.
Yes, Man!
Yes.
Sorry.
Or Corto Maltesian, depending, I guess.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, so, that's what we did Starro there, and here it's basically by Space Alien, essentially kind of our fill-in for Brainiac with the Preserver. Now we did have I know we did have Brainiac. I'm just saying the Brainiac was all like information versus like the whole like animal thing. So that's anyway. So we basically reveal that it bonded to Superman's chest, and we don't quite know how to remove it. Aquagirl reads it, and basically we learn that we reanimate the basically the climax from the main man at part 2 episode where Superman escapes. He's fighting the Preserver, and he brought Starro to the fortress with the little zoo, and then Starro had been. It's just this seemingly innocent. It's so interesting. Starro was innocent, but then he turns evil because he is planning kind of an evil takeover.
Well, it is kind of like it is a little bit like he is planning something, but also it's kind of like that hive mind mentality as well, where like one of them doesn't really do much damage, but a lot of them together can.
Yeah, like Starro's, every escape has failed, and he finds an opportunity with Superman here. So he basically takes over Superman, not out of malice, but it's like finally, I changed one prison for another. Like Superman is
essentially like a parasite just desperately seeking a host, and the parasite isn't necessarily malicious, but if it doesn't have a host, it'll probably die. It's kind of one of those things.
However, this I like that we kind of address here. That's the thing. So I love the ethical thing of like Superman unintentionally. It has a prison in the Fortress of Solitude because he doesn't know what these animals are thinking, and Starro, these other species are thinking, and Starro here just wants to be free, and then we kind of call it out here. He changed one prison for another. Like,
Starro essentially has the ET goal in this episode. Essentially,
yeah, he wants to go home, but here's the thing: when he takes over Superman again, it's for the purpose of leaving, but the power corrupts him. He gets over. He's been in such a powerless. It's sympathetic. He's been in such a powerless state for so long. He gloms on the Superman, mainly to get out. But while he's there, it's like, you know what? This guy did me wrong. Like the other guy did me wrong. I've kind of had it. You know what? I have no idea how to get home from here. I'll make this my new home.
Right.
Like you see the logic. There's like it's again. He's a conqueror. It's Starro the Conqueror, but it's. Yep. So anyway, yeah. So basically, it's been on him since the Beyond years of Superman. It's been on him for years since he donned the new costume.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we reveal he's been building an army of Starros. He's been busy.
Oh God,
he's been getting busy. He's got an army of Starros in the fortress, ready to release into the ocean, and basically he's been. There is a question like why he's been biding his time, and again I think it's taken this long to to basically get all the starfish ready and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And again, the reveal of like just how many different ones there are. Ooh, it's unsettling, Dragon. It's very much unsettling.
Yeah.
Again, I like that whole thing of like a bunch of small creatures, like creatures that are smaller than you, but such a mass quantity of them that they could easily overpower you. Oh, I do not like that imagery.
I mean, clearly Gulliver's Travels is very triggering for you.
Dragon, you joke about that, but yes, it legitimately was. Gulliver's Travels was one of those childhood things that scared the shit out of me. I'm not even joking.
It's also what we call Jacob Gulliver's Vacation Slideshow.
Oh my God. God, all right, yes.
So again, the climax of The Borrowers. Tiki's worst nightmare. Look at all of them. John Goodman just wanted real estate. Look what happened.
Fucking terrifying. Indian in the Cupboard was the same way, Dragon. I swear to God, I'm not even making this up.
That wasn't a lot of people. That was like 3 tops, and one of them died. Okay, that doesn't count.
Dragon, I was worried that there'd be more. I didn't know there was only 3.
Well, okay, fine. Like the worst you had it was that one scene where Darth Vader, RoboCop, and the term and the T-800 came to life very briefly.
To be fair, Indian in the Cupboard is the one that I actually could watch, but it was still like I was nervous about it though. It made me nervous.
I'm more nervous about the weird, the weird instinctual thing where where our Native American. Well, he's calling Indian in the movie, but the Native American.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry for using that word, but it is literally the title of the movie. You'll have to forgive me.
I'm sorry. Okay. It's literally there's no way around that one. It was a different
Right.
time. It's a period film. Anyway, the point being where our Native
Way back
American
in the ye olde 90s.
the point is our title Indian character shoots the cowboy character with the arrow.
Right.
It's
Anyways.
like that's more worrisome to me. Like, oh no, we're gonna kill the cowboy.
Actually, a good example is the Cowboys and Indians in the toy store in the Rugrats episode.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyways,
There you go.
back on track.
Okay. So anyway, so we have this so Barda has a smart plan of using the mother box to the boom tube, all of them away, but the starfish attack. They take over. And oh, by the way, so real quick, this is not something we really need to talk about. We had like a very rare bathroom joke in this episode.
Oh yeah. I thought it was I thought it was well done.
Yeah. I thought that's the thing. It was kind of a clever thing.
Again, Will Friedle kind of like having a little bit of Ron Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is this food?
It was. Ugh.
Ugh.
What was that? It's like it's like such a rare thing, and we do a joke like that and it actually works. So like kudos. Anyway, sorry, getting back to the point here. I say that because we're going from one oh crap moment to another here, where a bunch of starfish attack. Thank goodness Terry's got his belt, which electrocutes the starfish off.
And of course, this season of Invincible also kind of traumatized us to something like this as well. That did this concept in a much more visceral way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So when we have that episode of Invincible, you can see what I'm thinking too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's kind of impeccable.
Yeah, because I've seen we've now seen like adapted roughly 3 times like Starro invasions like this. In this episode,
right.
An episode of Brave and the Bold, and then there's the Suicide Squad movie. All right, so anyway, here's the thing. I really love Terry being able to electrify the starfish off because it's kind of a thing where I never really like it when Batman's like susceptible to mind control. So I love it when Batman's resistant to mind control in some way. So this is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then we have it's oh crap, Batman versus the entire Justice League now controlled by Starros, and and Barda tosses his kryptonite. So this big kryptonite's gone. He is such a goner. He is doomed, and he is not trained like our Batman. He's got to think on his feet quickly. He's a flashbang to escape to the Batmobile.
Again, he doesn't know the Martha cheat code.
Nope. Bruce Wayne's like, is everything okay? Anyway, so I never did like those boom tubes. When he says, "Well, thanks for sending my ride," I never did like those boom. That's kind of a great. It's a neat Conroy.
It's a neat Conroy.
I never did like those boom tubes. Which again, retroactively, never would have been a boom tube until Just League Unlimited. Well, I guess Just League Season 2. Regardless. All Bruce Wayne can do here, and this is really sad. I love that. This is a real big kind of like trial by fire episode for Terry. This is where Terry, and this is what brings me to my argument of this episode does feel like an event where it could have ended season 3 when we don't really have a good ending for season 3. Like if we're going to rearrange things, this feels like this is the most we put Terry through.
Yeah, and I do feel like the ending of this episode, again, I do think it kind of falls into that Great Conroy territory, unofficially, honorary Great Conroy territory. I do think it's a nice punctuation on the series.
That's my point, exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all Bruce Wayne can do here is have Barbara call in the military. We'll just bomb the
Fortunately, she's actually in town this time.
Yeah, fortunately.
Not actually on screen, but in town. Yeah.
So that's
not taking some random impromptu vacation.
Yeah, like where's Barbara going? She hasn't.
All right. Anyways,
but you can bet if she went anywhere, she'd bring slides.
Oh yeah, you're damn right.
All right, so basically, Terry points out, well, they'll just bomb the place. That's their job.
Mm-hmm.
So Terry has no good options here. Then we have this wonderful line here of, hey, what's the top speed on this thing? Mach 3. Is that faster than a speeding bullet? So then we have a bit that Snyder stole. Well, actually scratch that. I don't know if Whedon or Snyder stole this, but As I stole in a bad way because I really like this touch. I guess it was more. I think it was Whedon because Danny Elfman did this. The big moment in the Justice League where Superman we play the John Williams Superman theme as like the dark version of it here. They play the Superman the animated series theme in like a dark menacing
I
version.
noticed that. Yeah, yeah.
I love it. And again, I was geeking out during Justice League when that happens. Like, oh my god, it's like that. It's like the call.
You know what? The Joss Whedon Justice League is by and large pretty shitty, but it's got a couple moments. It's got a couple moments that work. Specifically, the whole just save one person bit. That was the one scene that I was kind of bummed wasn't in the Snyder cut.
It's got that in the moment of that Superman turn. Superman turns and he just looks at him, man. It's like, if memory serves, I think Snyder even used that in his cut. He didn't even, he just didn't have the same music playing, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is very intimidating. Look at how twisted we have the twisted Superman music, and he's flying all still with a giant starfish on his chest. Like he's like flying upright.
Very disquieting imagery. It really is.
Right? It's like him just like turning. It's like the fact that Star was just piloting his body, and there's no personality there. It's so disquieting. And Batman's like dodging the heat vision blast and he's like firing missiles at him. And it's just that Superman eventually grounds the Batmobile. Terry is in trouble. He's so doomed. And then we have the full circle invite here. And this is where we get kind of like our episode title aside from the actual emergency call titling. It comes full circle to Terry getting an invitation from Superman to join the Justice League to now getting an invitation from Starro Superman, who was technically the Superman from the whole time, inviting him to become a Starro, like join the crusade. So this is the thing here. So Terry, he finds a way out of it. He doesn't have kryptonite. He does not, he's out of good options here, but Terry finds a way to stop Superman without killing him and without dying, which is also a plus. He uses the grappling line from the Batmobile and electrifies Starro off Superman's chest, which is great.
Yeah, I really love the practicality of this. It's very much kind of like a MacGyver solution.
Oh, what did you think about the cool, like, psychedelic, shot of like Superman being like when he gets freed from Starro? We see that quick flash of him, like separating from the giant starfish.
Yeah, there's a couple cool moments like that visually with the Starro stuff that I appreciate.
All right, so Superman tears it off. Batman catches Superman up to speed. They Trojan horse themselves back into the fortress where Superman's like, I have him now. It's like, yeah, we'll make him one of us. And then we reveal, wait a minute, something's off here. He's not a starfish anymore.
There's no starfish attached to his body.
Yep. So then some really nice really good animation, really great teamwork between Batman and Superman here.
I honestly think this might be one of the better third act fight scenes that we've had, maybe at least in this season.
I just love how it flows so seamlessly here.
Yeah, totally.
It's so slick the way Superman's lasering the starfish off the faces. And he's some of the
I also love the way that, as the starfish start to go off the bodies, the other members of the league start to fight them and pull them off on their own. Kind of like that gradually coming to.
Exactly. So let's see. So then we have a bit here, and this is a really interesting bit here, where Batman is going to help Aquagirl. Of course, she'd be the toughest one to get Starro off of because she's aquatic and she's in the water, and in the water are all the starfish.
Right.
So again, but Terry's got to save her. He goes in there, and again, I guess Code Geass is saying, might be some sparks, like at least a hint of sparks. There's an attachment. He saved her in the first part. He's trying to save her in the second part. I think at least.
Greg, and I honestly think what it is that Terry McGinnis is just a charming young man, and there's going to be sparks without any female he interacts with. Honestly,
I mean, if Batman's the James Bond of superheroes, that's going to transfer.
Yeah.
Anyway, so while he goes down there, he's trying to stop her, and basically, she's also trying to basically open up the hatch so all the starfish can be unleashed. Superman makes a really tough call here, which is a very un-Superman call to make. He tries burying him in rocks. Basically buries.
Yeah, you're right. That is I think that might be one of the boldest choices in the whole episode.
And in the end, the starfish is off of him now, so we can't blame it on Starro. So that's the thing where Bart, who's been on Terry's case for 2 parts now. She brings up like, wait a minute, you can't do that. Batman's down there. He knew what he was getting into. So with that line, I mean, Superman's not wrong, but it is a choice that again, what I love about this is that we're showing a similarity in old age that Bruce and Superman have.
Right.
Is that again they are a little hardened. Like Superman wouldn't admit, and he's the optimist of the DC animated universe here, and even he's going like, it's the world or us. We gotta do this.
Exactly.
He knew the risk. I mean, and it's also I like the thing. This is a retroactive thing, of course, but Batman has constantly laid his life on the line, done the sacrificial play in Justice League. So you have to wonder if like Superman is unfairly kind of putting that on Terry here.
Mm-hmm.
Where again, this whole time, Superman technically didn't invite Batman to join the Justice League. This was Starro doing this.
That's true. That's true.
It's sort of making a leap here that okay, he knew the risk he was getting into with his life here, so it's a risk, but he's going to take it. Anyway, so we have this great bit where all the stars like swarm on the Batman. He electrifies them all.
It's pretty viscerally terrifying. I'm not going to lie. It's honestly one of the more disturbing pieces of imagery we've gotten, at least in season 3, I would say.
Yep. So Batman saves Aquagirl at the last second. They block the end. They block the exit.
Mm-hmm.
So they catch all the Starros, and they won't kill him. This is like Bart is just like boom tombing him to the sun, and Superman's very very nice to him here. He's like, no, they didn't ask for any of this. Like, no, we gotta, Aquagirl reads their minds and basically finds where their home is. She programs the Starro home world in there and basically allows them to repopulate their original world of origin.
Yeah.
So the JLU, they've come around on Batman. They invite him to be a full-time member. It's like, hey, why don't you be a full-timer? So that's something the old Batman never even did. He never made it past part-timer, which is something again we then retroactively put in the Justice League.
Do you think that the writers of Justice League felt handicapped by that line?
Well, no, I mean Batman. That's the thing, Tiki.
Batman just traditionally does not join teams.
Well, that's the thing, Tiki. If you go back to the creation of Justice League, the very beginning of Justice League, the first issue of the comic, Batman and Superman aren't in that issue.
And
that's because they were so big, and it was like a thing they worked in the comics in the early years of Justice League. That they're part-time members because they're busy.
I like how Spider-Man wasn't part of the original Avengers lineup.
Yeah,
they had to have that whole arc for him to join. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, that was like a year-spanning arc with Spider-Man, but kind of.
Yeah, I know, but still, he wasn't originally a member. I don't know.
No, you're right.
That's one of the. For me, I feel like that's one of the more memorable bits of Spider-Man lore in the comics.
Well, no, you're right. I'm saying, but that's the thing. Spider-Man and Batman have in common. They're not exactly joiners or team guys. They're very They're very much solo acts. Like Batman's whole thing is having a Bat family. But yeah, you're right though. I don't think it was handicapped. I think the plan was always like, yeah, he would have been a part-timer because Batman's not really much of a team player.
Part-time.
Anyway. Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, so but yeah, this moment gives Terry some pause here. He says, yeah, the old Batman never made it past part-timer, and Terry, he's been through a lot here, and they weren't really on his side. He's been fighting them tooth and nail the whole time.
I know, right?
And, they all just tried to kill him, and I think that's a lot for him. And I'd like to think at its core, Terry turns him down because he committed.
You guys are a bunch of fucking psychos, dude. You are nothing but drama.
Maybe, but still, I do like to think at its core it's that Terry he didn't take like the official vow or anything, but he's invested in the crusade that Bruce Wayne took on to protect Gotham. He's got a limited.
Nothing matters except the mission.
Yep. So I think it's like Terry kind of made a promise of sorts. And he's like he made his own vow, maybe not in specific terms, but he made a vow. He made a commitment to Bruce Wayne and his mission and everything. So it's like, I got to do right by Gotham versus the world here. I can't really go global on this. I got to stand by my mentor.
Sure.
And so he walks off, and it's a really nice moment too. Like Terry turns back on the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good shot.
And yeah, like I said, I do. I've been building this up, but
hit him with it.
I'm sorry. You do you have the line, the full line?
Well, it says I think Superman says he wasn't a joiner, and then Terry says maybe he and I have something in common after all.
Right. So I don't know, man. I don't think Bruce has a lot to do in this episode. He's mostly just on the sidelines giving minor exposition. So I think this is an honorary Great Conroy moment for me. I feel like, especially with, kind of like the arc in season 3 of Terry slowly transforming into Batman and Ronstoppable.
With a less crippling fear of monkeys.
Right. Oh, God. Okay, could you imagine Ronstoppable in that Gorilla episode?
Oh, he would be so freaked out.
All right.
Hey, you remember why Ronstoppable's afraid of monkeys, right?
I don't off the top of my head.
Oh,
it's something traumatic.
Yeah, so it went.
I assume.
No, it's hilarious. Yeah, so Ronstoppable. He went to all of Ronstable's trauma and
Was
his fears.
Ronstoppable in the audience for that one TV show in Nope?
Oh God, no, that's a parody I'd love to see.
Right? Oh my God!
No. What happened was, so Ronstable, most of his trauma and his fears and everything is linked to he had this horrible experience at Camp Wannaweep.
Oh man!
So Camp Wannaweep, essentially, he had the bunk with like the camp mascot, which was a monkey.
Oh God!
And it scared him, so he had like the whole. It's like basically like trauma, Camp Wannaweep trauma, number this, number that. So it's like he had the bunk with the bunk with the monkey.
Oh.
Anyway, so anyways, and then Superman has the last line as Batman walks off, turns back in the Justice League. Says, "More than you think, son. More than you think."
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the episode.
Ain't. Okay, Kogia says Terry never fully becomes Batman, but he does become a capable hero in his own right. I will again fight back on that. I think the whole series is kind of Terry stepping into the role and becoming a Batman in his own right, but agree to disagree.
Stop making Bruce Timm cry, Kogia. Come on.
Anyways, yeah, as far as final thoughts go, I definitely think this is a solid episode for sure. Definitely a lot of cosmic horror as well as some fun interactions. No real complaints except maybe Bruce Wayne doesn't get a ton to do, but he doesn't have to be front and center at every episode. So yeah, overall, very solid one.
Again, I think the Cole's a really, really good two-parter. Honestly, not counting Rebirth, which obviously we need to be two parts for what it covers. If Batman Beyond can only get one two-parter, and I think in retrospect, as we're going to see with perhaps an upcoming two-parter, if we only could have had one two-parter in all of Batman Beyond, not counting Rebirth, it should have been the Call. Like the Call would have been a bookend. I every time when I go back to Batman Beyond, it really does feel like that's what we should have done. We should have opened on Rebirth and we should have ended on a two-parter, which would have been the Call.
Right.
And what I like about this episode, and even looking at the ending, kind of what you've been saying, even Bruce Wayne being on the sidelines, is that Bruce let Terry make this discovery on his own. He let him go on this adventure on his own because it wasn't his call. He's acknowledging that you're Batman. These are your choices to make. I started you on this journey, and I think Bruce has faith, and you could always argue how much of that's just like a kind of the calculation and contingencies Bruce always has, where he knows, he's not going to join the Justice League, or is like, well, I have a feeling, he'll find his way back.
Sure.
Like I feel like if he's embodied, Batman the way I think he has, he'll see that he's got to refocus on the mission or something's just not gonna, it's not gonna feel right for him. And it's a great episode that really puts Terry through his paces, and I would argue ultimately maybe brings things to a close better than the actual finale of Batman Beyond, at least within the 3 seasons, not counting stuff that goes after the 3 seasons. Okay.
All right. So, big thanks to Kogia for being here, as usual. All right, take us out, Dragon.
Terry kidnapped? Major League versus Big Time? A nostalgic bribe? Can Terry steer Charlie Big Time Bigelow down the right path? Or will his second chance be Terry's last? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to Batcave Beyond with Betrayal! Betrayed me!